This video is about how to find the mean of a frequency distribution and how to find weighted mean. So starting from finding a frequency distribution, let's look at this problem over here. Okay, so here we're given a frequency distribution. We want to find the mean. So in the textbook, we're given this formula. X bar, which means the sample mean, equals the sum of f times x. F here means the frequency. Of each class, of course. And this x here is the data value. But here we're talking about the midpoint of each class. And divided by the sum of frequency. So we will use this formula. So how do we do it? So first of all, it's pretty obvious that frequency will be f, right? Talking about frequency. And what is x for each class, which is the midpoint of each class. So I'll make a chart right here talking about x. So the midpoint. So what is the midpoint for each class? It is, so how do we find midpoint again? The lower class limit plus the upper class limit and divided by 2, right? So here we have 99.5. You can do the calculation yourself. 149.5 and 199.5. This plus that divided by 2, 249.5 and 299.5. So these are the midpoint, which is x here. All right. So now we want to find the sum of f times x. Now let's find each f times x here. Okay, oops, we're back. Okay, so now first let's find f times x, each f times x. So first one will be 11 times 99.5, right? Whatever that is. This is actually 109.4, and then here is 24 times 149.5, which is 3588.0, and next is 10 times 199.5, so that's 1995, and 3 times 249.5, that is 748.5, and the last one is 2 times 299.5, that will give you 599. Okay, so these values are f times x. So what is the sum of f times x? Well, you add all the values up, right? So add them up. You can use your calculator. That will give you 8025.0. Okay, so now the top, we're done with the top, right? The bottom here is sum of all the frequency. So if you add up all the frequency, that will give you, that's 11 plus 24 plus 10 plus 3 plus 2. Right? That will give you 50. Okay, so the mean of this distribution, frequency distribution table will be on top is the sum of frequency times the midpoint. The bottom is the sum of all the frequencies. So you have 8025.0 divided by 50, and the final answer is 160.5. You can also use StatCrunch to help you do the calculation. So first, you put the midpoint on one column and the frequency on the other column. All right, so here we have two columns. So now I'm going to use the StatCrunch to do the calculation. Go to Stat, Calculators, and all the way down here, Custom. Okay, so this is to calculate weighted mean. So values, you pick the midpoint column, and the weights, which you will pick the frequency column, and then compute. And here it gives you the mean, 160.5. Now let's talk about weighted mean. The formula in the textbook goes like this. Weighted mean, represented using x bar, which is the sample mean, equals the sum of w times x. So and this w means the weights, different weights. We'll talk about what weights are in an example. And divided by the sum of all the weights. Okay, so let's use one example to explain what is weighted mean. So let's talk about how to find GPA. GPA represents a grade point average, right? This actually is finding a weighted mean. So grade point average. Okay, so say I'm taking several classes, right? I'm taking, say, English, stats, I don't know, history, music, for example. Okay, so I'm taking these 4 classes, and I want to find the GPA. First, we need to know the credit for each class. For English, let's say it's 4 credits. Stats, 4. History, let's call it 3. And music, let's call it 2. Okay. And for my grades, let's say for English, I got B. For stats, you get A. History, you get a C. And music, you get an F, for example. Right? And then we know, like, A is, when you get an A, you get 4 points, right? B is 3 points, C is 2 points, D is 1 point, while F is 0 points, right? So if you convert your grade in points, this will be a 3 point, this will be a 4 point, this will be a 2 points, and that's 0 point. Okay, so how do we find this weighted mean? Because for each grade, they weigh differently. This weighs 4, English weighs 4 points, stats weighs 4 points, history weighs 3 credits, music weighs 2 credits. They weigh differently. Okay, So this will be the weight, and this will be the points you get. So the GPA here, or the weighted mean here, is equal to, first of all, so let's not forget the formula goes like this. So first of all, W times X, the weight times the points here will be 12, right? So here's 16. Here is, what is this? 6, and this is 0, right? That's W times X. And if you add them up, that will be 12 plus 16 plus 6 plus 0. That is 28 plus 6, 34. Okay, then what is your sum of weight? You add up all the credits. That's 4 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2. That will give you 8 plus 5, 13. Okay, so your GPA is 34 divided by 13, which is, you can use a calculator. 34 divided by 13, that is, you can round it. I will round it to the nearest hundredths. That's 2.62. So that's your GPA. You can also use StatCrunch to do the calculation for you. Here I already put all the values. One column is called credit. It has all the credit of each subject, and the grade point, like your grade converting to grade points, putting it here. And now I'm going to go through the similar process as the last problem. You go to Stat, Calculators, Custom. This is to find the weighted mean. So the values here will be your grade points, and the weights here will be the credits. And here we'll press compute, and you can find the mean here, which is 2.6. If you round it to the hundredth, 2.62.